All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Pedagogy series of workshops for Brillante 2021. This is our third edition. It is a virtual one, and we are really excited to present to you Pradyumna Singh Manot, who is one of the most prolific jazz pianists in India. He is also known as someone who is like a very fiery Latin jazz pianist and is based in Kolkata. And he has done amazing work in jazz performances all over India and abroad as well. He has performed in so many bands. He has founded so many bands. He also has an education wing, which is based also in Kolkata, called 12 Tones, and just has been quite a figure in the circuit in India. He also opened for the National Center of Performing Arts International Jazz Festival in 2018, right, in Mumbai, and got reviews that were just amazing all over media. And we are so excited to have him here tonight to explain to us and show us a bit about rhythm of Latin jazz music. And so, Patty, we're going to give you this time.
Thank
And
you.
for the sake of people who have come in to learn from him, you may ask questions as the specialist asks you at a certain time. He gives you the time. Maybe after his explanation and demonstration, he will ask you for some question time. That's the time that you can ask him. And I am Kirchano, and I am the director and founder of Brillante, the piano festival based in India, Nagaland. And welcome to this wonderful hour that's ahead of us. Patty,
Thank
you
you.
can go ahead.
Thank you, Kyo. So yeah, I
Welcome.
enjoyed giving this workshop. Any questions? But I like to see everyone's faces.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, Kyo is the only teenager on screen.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to know a little bit about everybody so that I can have an idea who I'm speaking with. So let's go one by one.
Okay, so you can call upon them, okay, Patty, because
Okay.
since
So
you're
I know Tazim because he's my student, so not gonna ask him to introduce himself to me.
right, but then to the viewers who are going to be watching this,
All right,
because we will have this on YouTube, Tazim, you can introduce yourself.
let's start with
Not
Tazim.
very long, everyone.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Tazim and I've been learning piano for like some 5-6 years. I learned Western classical, but recently I joined under Paddy sir, and that was a complete new journey for me. So I'm learning jazz under him, and yeah, I think that should be.
Wonderful.
Divyam.
So I'm currently studying in Chennai. I'm a composition and audio engineering student. So primarily I'm a pianist. I studied Western classical for 2 or 3 years. Then I started moving towards jazz. So I'm currently learning by myself. So I thought this workshop might be interesting. I got to know it from Tazim. So yeah.
That's great.
Wonderful. Uh, Hi Vicky, how are you by the way?
I'm doing great, sir. I'm great. So good to see you.
Just call me Paddy. Why call me
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah. All right.
Vicky, you can introduce yourself as well.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is VK, and I'm part of Team Brillante. And yeah, I teach piano. I'm a piano teacher. And yes, I think that's it.
All right.
Okay, Sarthak, can you introduce yourself? We can't hear you. You can just check your mic connection maybe.
Can you now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Sarthak. I'm from Chennai and I'm a singer, music producer, composer. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm really excited about this workshop.
Excellent.
All right. So am I. Yes.
Ashwin, it's good to meet you. I've been watching your videos over the last 1 month.
Ooh. Yes.
You've
Hi,
been
sir.
playing fantastic, and
Thank
Anurag
you
is
so
such
much.
a good friend of mine. But
Oh,
still,
okay.
introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Ashwin. I've been playing the piano for about 8-9 years now. I'm mostly self-taught, but I've been exploring a few art forms like Western classical, which I've dealt with in the past few years because I studied from KM Music Conservatory, Chennai, and dealing with jazz. I've been learning the art form for the past 3-4 months from Anurag Naidu. He's my teacher, and yeah, that's about it. That's about me.
Um, I hope I pronounced this correctly. Aide?
Yes.
Aide? Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Aide Koza. I'm learning to play the piano, and this is a new thing for me, learning about jazz workshop and then being introduced to this genre. So, very excited to attend this with you all. Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you stay in Nagaland?
yeah. I'm in Kohima, Nagaland.
All you people are so lucky in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Let's begin. So I have a feeling that everyone here has little to no experience or understanding about playing Latin music, uh, in particular Latin jazz, of course, or maybe you do, but I feel like everyone's here to get introduced to this and start from, scratch. So I'm going to go from the beginning, and what this workshop is about is to talk about the rhythms of Latin jazz music. And so, specifically, the rhythm of Latin music. Uh, we have jazz music, which everyone's familiar with, and then there is Latin music. And when you take the improvisation and the harmony of jazz music and you use rhythms from Latin America, that's basically what Latin jazz is. There are many, many countries in Latin America, such as Cuba, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Brazil, uh, Colombia, Puerto Rico, and so on. And each one of them has many, many rhythms that come from their country. And one thing I feel is that to separate the identification of music by its rhythm is one of the most practical ways to identify music. And I personally like that much more than saying jazz, for example, because when you say jazz, what is jazz? And what gets often moved aside from the understanding of jazz is the understanding of swinging. And what gets often derailed from the understanding of jazz is actually that it's the music of a certain kind of people who had a certain kind of struggle in a certain country, and they worked very hard to gain their freedom and to express themselves. And often, jazz is not thought about in this way, about the rhythm and about the history of it. And because of this, jazz is really not even a definition given to it by its creators. It's not even the word that we used. Uh, so it's not the best way that I feel that one can look at this music that today we call jazz. I'm personally a subscriber to the views of one trumpet player called Nicholas Payton, who talks about the music being black American music. But that's a topic for another day, so we're not going to get into that. Now, two of the most popular countries that, two of the most popular ways of playing Latin jazz comes from two countries. Brazil and Cuba. Uh, and so the samba and the bossa nova from Brazil in particular, and from Cuba, the son and the cha-cha-cha and the rumba are the most popular ways of in which Latin jazz is played around the world. But each country actually has many, many, many rhythms. Cuba, for example, has 3 families of rhythms, mainly. One family is the charanga family. The characteristic of the charanga family is that there is a guiro. Does everybody know what a guiro is? So the guiro is like, it's a tube, and it's got these corrugated edges on one side, and then you take a stick, it's a particular stick for the guiro, and when you run the stick down this column, it makes a krrr sound. Okay, so when you play that, you play krrr, 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 krrr. So that's a guiro, you know. And also the thing is that there's so many percussion instruments, and being a pianist, I obviously don't have any of them except the congas. But I'm just going to try and describe to you best I can. But you can write this down and you can, go and listen to it. So there's the charanga family, and one of the most signature things about the charanga rhythms is that you have the guiro playing chak chaka chak chaka chak chaka chak chaka chak chaka chak chaka chak. So in different rhythms this is very characteristic. And in the charanga family you have different rhythms, such as the danzon and the cha-cha-cha, and then the latest one being the songo, and these are all different kinds of rhythms. They have different. So in Cuba you have many kinds of percussion instruments. There's a guiro, there are bongos, okay, so they're little small drums that you put between your knees and you play, and then there's the congas, they're like large drums. That's a conga, okay. Then there's bells, they have cowbells, cha-cha bells, yeah. Then they have wood blocks to play different kinds of wood blocks are more popular in the rumba. So things like that. They also have maracas, and that's also mostly used in the charanga family. So there's a charanga family, there's a son family, and then there's a rumba family. In Brazil, there are also many kinds of rhythms. The most popular ones, obviously everyone has heard of, is the samba and the bossa nova. Then there is something called the partido alto, which is also a very popular rhythmic style in Brazil. And then there are many, many, many other rhythms. And different parts of the country have different rhythms that originate from there, Just like in India, we have so many states, and then each state has its own culture, and then every culture has its own rhythm, and its own music, its own folk music. So similarly. Now these rhythms originate from the black people, from the people who come from Africa. And they have been mixed with the culture of the colonizers, whether it's Spain or Portugal. And over the years, it's like they have been cooked. Like in Punjab, you get a really good dal, a good dal makhani, if it's cooked overnight, It's not really good if you cook it right now, in half an hour. It's okay, it's going to be good for sure. But it's been cooking, the longer it's been cooking, the tastier it's going to be. So these rhythms have been cooking for centuries. And you cannot For example, you can nowadays you can go to a jazz festival, you can play whatever the hell you like in the name of jazz. But the great thing about Cuban music, for example, is you cannot go to Cuba and play anything you like and call it Cuban music. So, because when you say I'm playing salsa, you cannot play anything you like. Salsa is a particular rhythm. You cannot say that, okay, I'm going to play the shuffle beat and start playing bhangra, because no one's going to accept that. The definition is so tight. Now, all music that originates from Africa is by nature polyrhythmic. So, this is really the most important concept to understand to begin with. Can anyone tell me what is polyrhythms?
Sir, so when two different times, the feeling of a time gets mingled with each other and forms a completely new rhythm. I think that will be a polyrhythm because two completely different feeling got mixed together and formed something new, which is still related in some way.
Close. I know what you're trying to say. But it's basically two separate time signatures playing simultaneously. So if I'm playing 3/4, and I'm playing 2/4, and I play this simultaneously with the first beat coinciding. That's called a polyrhythm. Did everyone get that? So when you take two different time signatures and I play them like that, so I'm going to do this on the congas just because the sound is better, okay? But you listen for it. That's the 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. I can already see some people are grooving to it. You're already dancing on your screen. You see, such a simple thing has already created the feeling of groove. It's already created the feeling of dance. And essentially, what is music for? Why do we do music? I mean, I personally like to think we do music to dance and to celebrate life. I don't think we do music to essentially to make it an art. I think making music an art is a secondary or a tertiary purpose of music. I think the main purpose of music, personally, and you don't have to agree with me, is to dance. To celebrate life itself, the little things. Going to sleep, waking up, eating food, the birth of a child, the death of an old man, things like this. I think people want to express themselves in the simple ways possible, and there is no better way to express and enjoy life than dancing. And that's a personal opinion. But I think it holds true. And I think everything we do later on with the music to refine it, to make it better, to make it polished, to make it intellectual, and so on, is beautiful, it's fantastic. But it's not as important to me as dancing is. When we can be with each other in a space and we can dance. And I think to that effect, the most important thing of music is the rhythm. Which is why, if you're doing a performance you have the rhythm, people are just going to get pulled into your performance. But if you don't have the rhythm, but you have everything else, you have all the right notes, you have all the right chords and everything, but people are going to be like, something is missing, why am I not enjoying this? But then you take the most simple thing and then you play it with very powerful rhythm, with very powerful swing, with very powerful feel. It doesn't matter who is listening. It can be a child, it can be an old person. They'll start tapping their feet. They'll suddenly start enjoying their food more. Suddenly everything is much better. I've seen this time and again in my life. Okay, so coming back to that, we have 3 against 2. And we're already grooving to that. We're already finding that fun. And then we can do 3 against 2 with a little bit of a twist. Instead of having the first beat coincide, I can make the second beat coincide. So when we're playing 3 against 2 with the first beat coincide, we're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And I'm gonna shift the 3 so that the second beat of the 3 coincides with the second beat of the 2/4. Is everybody clear? Has everyone understood what I'm trying to do? Ida, you look a little confused to me. Or I just wanted to make sure you're all right. It's all good? Okay. If anybody has a question, just raise your hands, which is why it's important to have your video on. And you can ask me, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me do it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I want to shift the 3 to make the 2 on both sides meet together, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So now this has another feeling to it because now there's a little more syncopation, okay? So with that 1, right? And now if I do both of them one after the other alternately, it sounds amazing. So have now just see, it's a simple thing. We got 2/4, we got 3/4, and we put them together in 2 different ways and combined it, and we have something that is so moving. It's got propulsion. It forces you to jump ahead. It gives you that feeling. Okay, all right, okay, let's jump. So, and then if I had fun with this, if I started improvising rhythmically within this 3 against 2. the whole thing changes. Now you got a whole different level of energy going on. You got this complicated rhythmic power play going on. And it's every time there's syncopation, syncopation is what? We're used to thinking of music as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? But syncopation is not doing that. We're used to thinking strong beats 1 and then 3. But syncopation is thinking of 2, thinking of 4, thinking of the triplets between the beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, pow, 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 ping, 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 ping. So playing in those spaces is what we call syncopation. And every time syncopation happens, it's kind of like somebody's made you jump on a springboard. Like, poof. 1, 2, 3, pow, king, pow, get up, king, pow, king, pow, 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 and if you see this, this is what is the core of jazz music. This is the core of any Latin music. If I'm playing a simple blues, just let me know if you can hear the piano, okay? Okay, so the bass is walking. Exactly there. Jazz is polyrhythmic. If I play, so you see, it's exactly right there. This is the feel of African music. These are the roots and the origins of the rhythms of African music. This polyrhythmic element, that is the most essential thing. If you can take one thing away from today's workshop, this is what it is. Because in 1 hour to explain, or 45 minutes to explain what is Latin music and the rhythm is a very, very challenging task. I mean, that's basically, we're looking at, cramming 8 years of study in college into 45 minutes to understand this really well. But if I can really give you the most essential, the proto-DNA, that's what my mentor used to call it. He said the proto-DNA to the DNA to the music of Latin America is this polyrhythmic thing, is this syncopated thing, playing against time, right? The 3 against the 2, 4 against 3, these kind of different ways of pushing the music and then doing it with the feel. Okay, so this is the crucial thing that one must understand. If you want to understand anything that is Cuban or Brazilian or even jazz, like I showed you. I would just, we call it swing, and this is the swing. Playing this polyrhythmic feel in a certain way is the swing of jazz music. And to get that lilt, and what you call this lilt in Cuban music, you call it sabor. Sabor means taste. When you play music, you have to play with taste. Like when we see if there's anybody from another country who tries to play music from our country, we can see the difference in taste, okay, that something is missing and that we got the taste. Like today, if I went to Nagaland and I started learning some, rhythms of Nagaland, they'd be like, yeah, you're a good person, but you haven't got the taste yet. You got to stay here, you got to eat the food, you got to climb the mountains, then you start getting the taste, got to be with the people. So we try to get the taste is the most important thing, because you go to Cuba and you start playing salsa, they'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah. But no sabor. If I play a montuno. So what is a montuno? It's a rhythmic pattern we play on the piano in Cuban music. So if I play this without taste, which is I'm going to try and do, because all my life I've been working on getting the taste. So if I play it very straight, basically like playing like a computer is the exact definition of playing without taste. But if I had to play this, I would try to play with taste. So, take these two things away from the workshop. Everything else is just knowledge and information you can get on YouTube. Polyrhythmic understanding of the music and the sabor, the taste of the way you feel the rhythm. Yeah, so you have to feel the rhythm, whether it's jazz music or whether it's Cuban music or whether it's samba music. You have to feel the rhythm the way the people feel the rhythm. You have to get that sabor, and in jazz music we say you have to have the swing. Okay? I don't think we have much time. Kyo, how much time do we have? Is it a 45-minute workshop or?
Yes, sir, it is. 45 minutes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna give you some basic. I just play some basic rhythms for you to, give you an idea, and then we can open up to questions if you guys have any questions. So this is when we play cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha is coming from the charanga family. So if you've heard Oye Como Va, it's a famous song, and that's basically a cha-cha-cha. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Cha-cha-cha. Then we have a basic guajira. Guajira is another rhythm. So I'm now just telling you the rhythms of Cuba. Guajira, when we play guajira on the piano, so this is a simple guajira. And this is played with something called a 2/3 clave, which is a DNA which comes after the proto DNA. So A 2/3 clave sounds like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see the second part of the clave is a triplet, yeah, which is your polyrhythm right there. And the first part, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So this fits in with the clave like this. And even everything is designed around this clave, which is basically the DNA of Cuban music. So that's a basic guajira, and then there's a son. Which is very similar, but the difference is the son is a little faster. The guajira originates with a small guitar-like instrument called the tres, and is simpler single note montuno. And in the son, which expands from the guajira, the piano comes in and it starts playing octaves and chords. And then more percussion instruments come in. The conga comes in, timbales come in, so it's grander. The rumba is a whole different ball game, and in rumba things start getting really fun because it's far more syncopated and complicated. But essentially, if you take son clave, which I just showed you, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we take the third hit of the 3 part, so there's too much information happening right now, I understand, but just listen to it, and then later on you can use this and check it out. So we take the third hit of the 3 part and we delay it by half a beat or something. I don't know, I've never calculated that, but I just always felt it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, beep, beep. So it now gives it that extra layer of syncopation and that bounce back into the 1. You see how it kind of launches you. 1, pa 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 to ta ka oh 1 pa ta pa ta kum king king kum pa ta kum pa ta ka pa. So if you there's a rhythm called the rumba wawanko. I'm just going to show that to you in a very basic way. I'm not a conga player. Just a sec. Yeah. So now we're going to do the clave in reverse. Okay. So instead of doing 1 pa 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 ka pa pa, we're going to do. So let me take the 2/3 son clave, reverse it. Okay. So son clave reverse is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So the 3 part comes first, and then the 2 part. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. That's son 3 2. And now when I delay the third beat of the 3 part, I get this 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 and 1 2 3 4 2 3 4 2 3 4. Right? So that's a 3/2 rumba clave. And the rumba wawanko, which is one of the most popular rhythms in the rumba family, goes like this. So you see, it's not even playing with the clave. And that's why this music is heavily syncopated. So first of all, you got polyrhythms, which is level 1 syncopation. Out of that, you got a clave, which is level 2 syncopations. and then you decided that let's play everything against this clave and let nothing match together, and then we'll do all of that crap together. So we have 3 levels of syncopation, and then the pianist will come and be like, okay, I hear all of you, and I'm going to make sure I don't match anything with you guys. I'm going to play against all of you, and we're going to syncopate it even further. But when you listen to the whole effect, it's very, very groovy. Okay, so. Okay, so that's rumba, and particularly I just played rumba wawanko. Then there's a rumba yambu, there's a rumba Colombia. Rumba yambu is a slow rumba. Rumba Colombia is a rumba in 6/8. And if you go and check all of these things out on YouTube, first of all, you get very lost with where are they counting the rhythm, where's the one, what is happening. And everybody's playing against each other. Like, it's like everybody's playing whatever they feel like at first. There's like, is there a plan here? Like, what's going on? Like, it's like, it's like those Zoom videos, where 3 musicians just played and you mismatched it and released it, So it's, at first it might feel like that, but every conga and everyone has a certain part and a certain pattern on which they improvise within the pattern and against each other. So, it's a study, and you can find a lot of videos that talk about rumba, talk about son, talk about these things. Brazilian music, samba sounds a little bit like. Okay, so you'll find all these videos that describe to you the samba rhythms. There are many kinds of sambas. There's samba batucada and so on, And in the samba, traditionally, you have these big ensembles. They're called samba baterias. And in the baterias, everyone has their own parts. There's the surdo drums, which go 1, pa, 1, 1, 1, 1. And there's another surdo that's playing the 1, which is a higher surdo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So together, 1, pa, pa. And then there'll be somebody who's playing a small drum with a stick. I think it's called a repenique. I'm not 100% sure right now. But they're going so, and you see they're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it is anything but straight. And that the lilt is super strong. So it's got that triplet, that polyrhythmic thing deeply inside it, plus the feel of the country, the feel of the culture. So so it's, and then there's snare drums, small little snares. There's agogo bells, tinking kum, pinking kum kum, pinking kum, pinking kum kum. Everybody's doing like these crazy things against each other. When we play samba on the piano, it sounds something like this. And you see, you can hear it in the left hand. I'm playing the surdo. And the whole rhythm rests on the 2 part, on the second beat, not the first. If you play, that's not samba. Where you play the feel on the second beat. So essentially I'm playing all of these different instruments and their parts, and bringing it on the piano. Pakaraka, 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 pakaraka. And you know what's bossa nova is basically samba without steroids. So that's all within the samba school, you know. And samba, everyone is like carnival party, dance, dance, and the dance is so hard. If I did it, I'll lose all my weight. Anybody would. Kyo should not do it. She'll become two-dimensional. She's so fit already. But yeah, so they like, okay, you know, let's chill out. Let's just sit in a room. Let's take a guitar. Let's just play the samba, but very intimate, cozy, and sing some songs and, you know, make it beautiful, relaxed. So you know, girl from Ipinima. But it's all in that samba school, okay? So like this, you know, Colombia has a nice rhythm called the cumbia, and the cumbia is a hard rhythm to play because, okay, essentially there's two parts of the cumbia. One is that one, two, 1, 2. But the twisted part is when the stick starts playing the accompanying part, which is very, very lilting and within that polyrhythmic feel that we've always been talking about. So it plays. And I've seen a lot of drummers when they play cumbia, they play. They play it straight, you know, like 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1, and it's like so not cumbia. But when you want to play, and the cumbia, when the piano and the bass plays cumbia, so you know you got to be very careful, because if you play these rhythms without the feel, you'll make it sound like old Bollywood songs. And then everybody's like, you know, you're playing Indian music. Indian music is the same. No, it's not. Whoever's playing it is playing Indian music. He's not playing their music, because you got to get that feel. So does anyone have any questions?
Sir, I have questions. May I ask?
Yeah, of course.
Sir, what is your imagination like when you're improvising, like on a chord chart? Like, what is your imagination? Is it calculative? Is it imaginative? And like, what exactly goes in your head when you're like not thinking at all and just like going with the flow?
You don't want to know what's going on in my head. Well, you know, the thing is that when I'm improvising, everything is going on in the head except the chords. And that's when I'm really improvising. If I'm thinking chords, then I'm thinking, all right, F7, and I have these notes. Okay, E half diminished seventh, all right, I can do this, I can do that. But when I really want to improvise, then I better know all these chords so intimately, so deeply, that I'm actually thinking about, oh, what am I going to order after the concert to eat, Or, that pizza was really nice last time. And that's going on in my head when I'm improvising, or like something in my life that I'm thinking about. And I'm using all of that to make a story when I'm playing. Because if I start improvising, like thinking of chords and things like that, I'm screwed. I'll be playing very. And that's like so dead. But if I'm thinking, okay, right now I'm thinking about everyone's faces, like how Kyo closed her eyes and was enjoying it. Then I went around faster and she's like, whoa! And I saw your face and smiling. I'm looking at Ashwin, he's like, yeah, look at those chops, I'm looking at all of you and using that to improvise. So real improvisation starts when you don't think about what you are playing, and you think about emotions, and you think of stories, and you think of food. Maybe you're improvising and you see somebody in the audience and wow, that's a pretty girl, and then you're things like that, innocent things like this, and life itself, that's when the improvisation really starts. Like conversation, you don't think about, okay, how do I spell rhythm? Okay, can I use this as a verb or an adjective? Like if you thought about talking to somebody with this in your head, that's the end of the conversation. So improvisation is a conversation between musicians in jazz, and the drummer is going to react to you, and at that time anyway there's no time to think. So if you think, then it's game over to begin with on a technical level. But then if you guys, and that's why bands that have been playing together for a really, really long time, they have a body language between each other. They have chemistry. They read each other. They know where the musicians are going. And then the game is to trick each other. Like, you missed that. No. So it's kind of like, it's like, when you're with friends and you're out and you're hanging out together and things like that, Your friend is walking, suddenly throw water on him because it's funny. So improvisation in a band with a drummer and a bass player is meant to be like that. I'm going to drown you for fun. Can you survive it? I'm going to do something we did not talk about. And that's why that relationship is so important. What is music about? What is culture about? Essentially about our relationships, about these things. So your music must be about these things and not the chords. And that should be when you're practicing at home. But when you play on stage, you got to forget all that and you just got to play. Yeah, Ashwin.
Okay, so I have a very, it might be a very silly question, but so to me, when I look at, say, standard jazz, to me, it's, say, a little bit of swing on the face, like ta, 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 very cliched. But when I think of, for somebody like me who hasn't played too much of Latin or who hasn't even listened to too much of Latin, the only difference I can sort of say is that, I can clearly tell, okay, this is straight and that sort of swing, but I could see that, you were swinging with the polyrhythms as well. But for something like a bossa or maybe the one that you played, I think it was called, I wrote it down somewhere, Rumba Buwanko, or something like that. Yeah. So as a pianist, how would you sort of swing in that, in those sort of rhythms?
Well, the thing is that the swinging has to happen irrespective in every way, which means swing over here means knowing the rhythmic elements of the music and having the feel of that culture. Okay, so black Americans are different than black Cubans. because of the so many decades and centuries of growing up in a different place and different language and different food and different climate and different experiences of life and so on and so forth. Uh, so one is to imbibe that feel of that rhythm itself. And essentially, if you want to make your playing very strong, you have to make it very rhythmic. And to make it very rhythmic, on a technical level, you must study the rhythms itself. Okay? Now, the way you said kang, 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 I mean, that itself made it boring for me. Because you did it purposely in a technical way, right? But you wanna express that you gotta feel it in that way. You gotta enjoy it in that way. Okay, and then when you can express it like this, and when you can feel it like this, my right hand is enough for me to play, to express the rhythm, to express the chords, to express the stories. I don't need a left hand. The left hand is basically here to give some juice in the middle, to react. You see, my left hand is not doing much, but the right hand is carrying the entire weight of the music alone, easily. And then when you want to do samba, for example, and then you imbibe that rhythm, and when I improvise using a samba, so I'm using all the language of the percussion in the improvisation, all of it. Yeah, if I'm playing Son Montuno, and the congas play prak prak pam patak kataku patako prak prak prang patako tuki kataka. So pum patakum patako brava papi kotaku papu pataku putaku pum patu papu papu papapo patuki pataku pukatukum patakum ping ke patako pataki ko pem puketaku do pata papa papa pataku tukakum pataku tuki. So I'm using the language of the congas. So do you understand? Does that answer your question?
Yes, pretty much. I understand. It's got to imbibe the rhythm into your sort of understanding of how you play, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Sarthak, tell me.
Sir, artists or like songs or people you would recommend to listen to, because I guess like skills come with time, but like definitely we can listen and do things. So
So, I mean, there's a massive list of just artists from any one country. So I would just recommend that you go to Google and you type Cuban musicians, for example, and just start listening to everyone, you can, and start listening, reading about the music, and in one way it's good to listen to much older records, the older they get, then you get into the roots of it. Like, for example, in jazz, if you start listening with Louis Armstrong, uh, as opposed to listening to Wayne Shorter, what he's playing right now, if you start from there, it'll be a little too extreme, because he's come a long way in the development of where jazz started from and where it is today. So you might get a little lost in your understanding. But if you go to the beginnings, earliest recordings, then you'll hear what people were starting out with, and then you can follow the course of the music and history, and then you realize what people are doing today will make much more sense to you. So the best way is to do like a research project. Where does this music start from? Who are the beginning musicians, the different musicians who created these different rhythms and things like that, and then start listening from the beginning and try and make like a family tree of musicians for yourself. Like for jazz, you'll be like Buddy Bolden and Louis Armstrong after that, and in things like that, James P. Johnson, Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson, and then who was in the swing era, then the bebop, and kind of like give it a story, like a history project, and that is the best way to go about it, because you'd also listen to it when it was simpler, and I don't mean simple, but I mean that these things evolved, so they got more complicated or different colors than what it was. So in that sense, starting from the roots is always the best way. And Google, luckily we live in this age where we can get so much information, but I'm just trying to give you a strategy.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yes, Divyam.
Yeah, so my question is, what is your process like of learning these rhythms first and then using those in your improvisation? Like, it's very similar to Ashwin's question. So like once you played walking bass in your left hand and you were improvising with the drumstick in your right hand, I mean, things like these help you feel the rhythm more and get you to improvising those rhythms. Because learning a rhythm first is very different than improvising in a rhythm, I think.
So you're saying that how does one go about doing this?
Yeah, I mean, what can be the methods like of learning these rhythms and then learning to improvise in those rhythms?
Actually, the first thing I tell everyone of my students is just spend a lot of time dancing to the music. Your question is for me to give you an intellectual answer. I'm saying forget the intellect. You just take the music, whether it's Count Basie or Duke Ellington, or whether it's anybody from Cuba or from Brazil, any one of these musicians, you just put their music on and dance to it. Don't worry about how you're dancing. The way we dance to music today, like funk. Just do that for a month. You will feel the rhythm very differently, believe me. If you do it for a year, you will feel the rhythm even more deeply. And then you will not ask me this question. I have seen videos of little children in Cuba, 3 years old, 4 years old. Rumba is going on and they're playing the clave, and they're shaking their little butts in their little diapers. That's all they're wearing, a little diaper. And they're on the street, pam, 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 pam. 3 years old, 4 years old. By the time they're 10, 15, you think they need to ask this question. They're like, hey, hermano, we just dance to the music. They imbibe the music. So just absorb the music, It feels counterproductive. It feels like, wow, I'm actually not learning anything in the beginning. But actually you're learning everything by dancing to the music. That's the real learning. In the end, you will just be like, I know this music in my body. Like my hand knows this music, my butt knows this music, my thighs know this music, my hair knows this music. And when I play it, I'll end up playing it in this way because that's how it is felt. That's how I feel it. And I can't play it any other way because that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't feel right. And you will be doing yourself a favor by doing that, because you will not only learn rhythmic things, you will not only learn the language of the music, you will learn a lot of songs, you'll learn everything, and you will imbibe the feel very deeply just by doing this exercise. And every day when you do it, the music will get deeper for you. It will make a real change in yourself. Because essentially, all of these music forms in Africa, everything is for dancing. It is for celebrations. You know, when they're all going to sleep, there's a certain kind of rhythm, certain villages they play, and everyone's just calming down. You know, in the night, they go hunting. They have different rhythms to coordinate with each other. How to, you know, get the deer or the lion. How to kill the lion. They use rhythm. So it's a part of everyday life. Now we can't go hunting, but we can dance. We can dance to the music, you know. So do it every single day. And then this question you have will diminish every day. It's you know, how we learn language. By the time we're 3 years old, we know how to speak our mother tongues. And who taught us? Like, there was no question answers, there was no master classes. Like, imagine going to a baby who's 6 months old. Okay, today we're going to have a master classes on adverbs. But by the time you're 3, you're speaking a full language with emotion, with expression, with meaning. You know exactly what you want. You know the tone of how to call your mother so that she melts and gives you that damn chocolate. How did you learn that? By just living in that space, by imbibing it. So you want to go on a technical journey, it's going to be very hard. You're really going to struggle. But if you want to go into this journey of dancing to the music very deeply, it's going to come. Sooner or later, one day you're just going to wake up, you're like, yes, I feel Cuban today. And I know it. So listen to the music and dance to the music every day. That's what I was doing when I started listening to Cuban music. I couldn't stop dancing. I was like, that's it. This is my life, to dance to Cuban music. I hope that answers your question. Even if it doesn't, just do what I'm saying. It will.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Kyo. Are you saying something? Still can't hear you. And now you're on mute, I think. Why don't you type?
Any final question, guys?
Oh, anybody has any final questions? I've given too much gyan, so everyone's like, okay, too much, enough.
But I'm pretty sure everyone thoroughly enjoyed the workshop, right? I think, you know, the workshop we have had so far, this is like one of the most interesting workshops, really. I mean, you know, everyone is so engaged in the workshop, and the way, you know, Paddy just pour his heart out, his love for jazz, and, you know, whatever he said and demonstrated, it was amazing. And this is like probably like the best workshop we have had so far. And very interesting. Thank you so much, Paddy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I think,
Yes, we
can you
can
hear me
hear you.
now? Yeah, finally. I'm so
Can you hear me
sorry, everyone. Thank you, VK. I think my phone was just coming and going, and that's why. Patty, thank you so much for explaining what the whole polyrhythm and everything that is to know about your music, Cuban music and jazz. And also like rumba wawanka. This is the first time I heard it. I'm so glad I attended this workshop. And
Yeah,
also it's just amazing, no? Just the way you have a perspective and approach to jazz, and I think just to any music, because even from the first edition that Patty was in, he has a very personal and unique approach to music, to doing music and to living music. And then I just see the way he's actually put all of those experiences and his vision of life and music together, and the way he's even continued teaching in these workshops. And so thank you for that. Thank you for
thank you.
bringing us actually all back to the genesis of why music was originally intended and created for, and that is to live it, and then even just to the basic thing you talked about, dancing and just feeling the music. I think as musicians, and especially as classical musicians, and where we are basically trained, and you started from there, and then you started going to all different varieties of music genres and forms. We need to just get a sense back
Right.
of feeling the music again. And so this has been such a wonderful way of doing that. And I want to thank actually all the people who've also been part of the festival and who's also attended this workshop. That it is our desire at Brillante, and Patty knows the vision very well, is to continue to promote not just jazz music as such, but then to promote music and to celebrate that, and to celebrate artistry, to celebrate the joy and the life that music brings to us in our country and wherever we are placed. And so I hope that you can continue to be part of that journey with us, all of you who are here in this workshop. And we want to see you just shine and just do great in wherever field you guys are going to be doing, because I'm just sitting in this workshop and I can just see the level of your passion, your intensity, not just in terms of playing, but even I think intellectually, and that the hunger that's there in all of you. I just get a sense of that even while attending the workshop. I think Patty, Patty, don't you see that?
Completely, completely.
Yeah.
Everyone is
And
so deeply interested.
it's so exciting, and it's not
Yeah.
just the numbers. I know that each of you have just an amazing deposit of something in you that's going to be really wonderful in the years to come as you
Absolutely.
continue to grow. So
Yes.
thank you for being here, Patty. You want to have some last words?
No, I'm really grateful, first of all, to Kyo and Wiki and everyone at Brillante for doing what they do. I was part of them uh, with the first edition, and in the second edition, I was very upset because they didn't call me, and they have to call me every year. They have to call me every year. I'm saying this now because I love them so much. And I told Kyo that if you don't call me as a musician, just call me as a photographer or something. You just got to give me
Yeah,
that
chaiwala. He said
chai,
chaiwala.
chai wala, and
Uh-huh.
I can give tea to everyone, and or so because I love these guys so much for what they're doing uh, for music and for musicians, and it's so genuine. It's not because they need to do something. They're not doing it like corporate people. They're not a business running a festival to make profits. They're music teachers and musicians doing a festival to get more music, and they mean it.
Thank
and
you.
and all of us, all of you guys who are here from different parts of the country, you must remember this and support them every single year, no matter what. Make time to be a part of the festival in whatever way you can, and tell others to be a part of this, because they are the real deal. They are genuine, and it's very hard to get someone who's genuine nowadays. It gets lesser and lesser and lesser. So we got to stick with each other for this reason, that uh, nobody's here to get something out of someone, but everyone's here to share music and learn and do better. I know it's a competition, but the competition is the best way to push yourself to improve a lot better in that short span of time and inspire yourself. It's not about who came first and second. It's about giving you that impetus to, jump. Okay, there's a certain standard. Can I hit that standard? and let's see what I can do with it. So, and then the workshops and everything, and I, like Kyo said, I really feel, this from all of your faces that you're so deeply interested in the music, like you're raring to go. Like I can imagine all of you like getting onto YouTube right now and just like googling everything and like what is this and what is that, and I'm sure everyone's gonna try dancing tonight.
I'm
You
gonna
can start.
dance. Okay, and I.
Yeah, start with some salsa. Just type salsa on YouTube and start dancing. It's the best way to start. Salsa, samba, and just go for it. Enjoy the music and live it. So I mean, thank you to everyone for for who you are.
So thank you everyone. Do keep us updated on all the things that you do, your performances, or maybe there's your compositions or other things that you have coming on your social media. We will try and promote as much as we can as well. And so we're behind you. And thank you, Patty. You're just a genius, so
Nah.
spectacular, and I just love everything that you do. So thank you so much. So goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
See you, everyone. See you.
Bye bye.